Apple Squeezer. This machine creates apples, also wood and saplings as a byproduct, and it's similar to the bread maker if you've seen that. Okay, so you have to be in survival to use it, and don't have any saplings or bone meal in your inventory, unless it's a full stack, of course. And these two dispensers here, this one has saplings, and this one has bone meal. Alright, so I'm gonna just take one to get it started. You hold right click and click on this dirt here, and the machine dispenses bone meal and saplings so that you can continually hold right click and have trees grow. So pistons push out and destroy the leaves, which causes the apples and saplings to fall down, and the wood is pushed up into a containment system. Let's do a few more here. Okay, I saw an apple fall. And one more for good measure. Alright. So let's look at our haul here. We got 17 saplings and 2 apples. And we used, how many? We used up 10 saplings, so that was 10 trees we did. So yeah, now I'm going to show you how it works. This here's the squeezer unit by itself, which uses double extending pistons to crush the leaf blocks. And we see this dirt here. All this dirt is to prevent leaf blocks from spawning. And if there were air here, then you'd get some leaf blocks in here, and the wiring would be open. And so when some apples and saplings fall down, they might actually fall onto other leaf blocks, or basically they don't get collected. So that's to stop leaves from spawning there, because we're not going to be collecting those leaves anyways. And then the reason this top side here is not symmetrical with the other 3 sides is because if we look down at the bottom here, this is where the sapling would go. This piston here is part of the update detector, which detects when the sapling is placed. And for that to work, these 2 blocks above it can't be moving, and so we can't have the pistons extending from there. And if these 2 blocks can't be here, or it can't be pistons extending there, then the blocks above it should be dirt as well, because otherwise saplings would fall onto it, and they would just collect up on there and decrease the efficiency. They wouldn't be collected at the bottom. And so just give a little demonstration here of a quick test. Just give it a pulse, push out, and the leaves get destroyed. So the wiring just goes up to each corner and just travels upwards. Simple wire to the first guy, a repeater with 4 and a repeater with 2, and that allows them to extend and retract again. So that's how we get the leaves. And now let's look at the rest of the wiring. Yay, it's redstone time! So this is all the circuitry with everything else stripped off. And I figure we'll start with what happens after we place a sapling. So this piston here is the block update detector. So when we place a piston, it pushes down, which cuts that wire there. So this wire is just powered all the time by this lever. And so we place the thing, it updates the piston. The way that works, of course, is the wire here wraps around and powers this block, and since this is a diagonal above and diagonal to this one, once this gets updated, then it pushes down. Now there's a button back there. It doesn't really do anything. All it does is divert this redstone so it points that way. Otherwise it would point into this magenta block and power that piston, which we don't want. Okay, so now this signal goes 2 places. It goes down here to this yellow wool, and that's the control for the dispensers. So once that turns off, turns this on, comes up here and gives a pulse to this bone meal dispenser. So that's basically instantly after you place the sapling, bone meal comes out. Then after a bit of a delay, then it goes over and gives you a sapling, and the cycle continues. Now the other place the wiring goes has a bit of a delay here. So there's a delay before the bud can reset itself, and basically during that delay, during the time it takes for that to get over there, that's when the bone meal has to get placed on the sapling. We don't actually detect when the sapling gets turned into a tree because the bone meal isn't 100%, so You can't trust that it's always going to get a detector. It's not always going to cause an update, basically. So every maybe 1 out of 10, 1 out of 12 trees is going to fail, because I think it's because it tries to grow into a large tree and that fails in the system. So that's why we have a delay. And then the signal also goes to the rest of the circuitry, which basically, I'm not going to show it fully. You can download the map later if you like. But it basically goes to two falling edge pulsers, so they generate different pulses. This one here sends its output to the magenta wool, which so after it sends a pulse, it goes to this bottom piston, which pushes up, and that's how the wood gets pushed up. And then the other pulse, which is slightly longer, goes up to this blue wool. It's hard to see. Goes up to this blue wool and splits and goes to torches here and there. And those go up to the squeezer unit. And that pulse needs to be a little bit longer so that the squeezer works fine. And that's basically all of the circuitry. I know I didn't fully explain every detail of it, but download the map and explore it if you like. And let's figure out about the collection of the apples now. The collection system is pretty simple. It uses water to catch the apples and saplings that drop down. There's a source block here, and one nestled over in there. And that creates a nice diagonal stream so that they can have a shorter path. And there is ice underneath it, which allows them to go fast. Just drop some thingies in there. Yep, there they go. Alright, so that's how everything works, and I hope you can maybe put these ideas to use in your own projects, or use this to get yourself some apples. And now we're going to take a look at one last test. Okay, so that was 13 apples in 5 minutes, which would mean 2.6 apples per minute. And that's consistent with my other tests, somewhere between 2 and 3 a minute. So if you use the machine for an hour, you should get something like 2.5 stacks. And remember that you need to pick up the items every 5 minutes so